how's everybody doing today on this beautiful Tuesday? I am finally here. I know I'm a little late today. I really didn't know whether or not to do it this week. I've been going through some emotional ingression, and there has been a relative reality shift for not just myself. I don't want to speak on the effects it's having on those who are closer to my hometown. But there was a death in my family, and just to be very real with you, when we are, so let me get my mic in situation here. When we're dealing with our own personal journey on this planet, there's a childhood version of our memory. So, and if you've gone through this, then you already know what I'm talking about. But that loss has sort of brushed against my own mortality, and I'm still very much dealing with and grieving in the actuality of it all. This person, although we weren't close in later life, I found many of my childhood memories of them in my life. And so it's been very much difficult to remain mentally and emotionally intact and aware, just with that processing in the back of my mind. And I don't even want to go into what the immediate family must be feeling, and as much as the immediate family has gone through is just a lot as well. So I don't want to say anything out loud. I don't want to put names to anything. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I just ask that you join me in this little moment of silence right now, as we offer that divine connectedness that we all share in encouraging that light that they brought to the world and the return of that light to source. So I'm going to go silent for just a moment here. Okay. So, in saying all of that, just to kind of preface, today's message is going to be concise, to the point, and I'm going to do my best to kind of analog through the whole thing. So just excuse me and forgive me for that. So we're going to open up with announcing our intentions with this coming air. The moon is in Gemini, which is very much, action and retreat. It's two sides of the same coin. It's, background and foreground thinking. That's why your Gemini friends can be a little off the chain. But when a celestial body is influencing our collective experience, we all can, embody ourselves in that sun sign for whatever the occasion may be, whether it's a planetary alignment or the sun itself is positioned there. So in this Gemini moon, we are going to be announcing intentions. It's the dawn of a new day. We just came out of that new moon in Aries, which was literally the light, the break of day. It's time to act. It's time to move forward. It's time to act. And again, not to say that those of us who are still grieving anything, even the old pre-pandemic world, some people are still, grieving, the life lost, and the new reality is bearing down on them, and they're just not ready yet. So for those people, I would say, and including myself, it's okay to take a moment to have that space to grieve. But again, don't forget your own purpose, your own relative space and your own alignment is going to require that you continue to persist and continue in light of all that you have endured and in light of all of those that you have seen suffering around yourself, and that you have to keep that constitution alive as well, and you have to keep that own confidence alive as well, you know, especially when we have to be strong for those around us. So announcing your intentions is always a great practice, but again, it's in the here and now. I know it's something that we say a lot, is write down your intentions for the next lunar calendar, but it's very real. You can, especially the way time is moving right now, you can accomplish a lot in such a short amount of time. So, but more than writing it down, it's about execution. So anything that is sitting on the boiling pot, it's time to take it off and serve it up, so to speak. Accountability is going to be so paramount in getting forward and getting in motion with the alignment of everything. It's been that way all week. I've been helping a friend out, and it seems that we're getting more in alignment with what's going to, provide a victory road for them, instead of just sort of wondering and waiting and wondering and waiting. Again, if you can be that friend that provides the accountability and the way through and the way to the other side, you're being heavily called to be that for those around you right now. And if you can't be that for those around you, at least offer at least that moral support and just say, I understand what you're doing, and I hope that the way opens up for you. Definitely prayers go a long way when your hands are tied. I'm moving out of the sort of somberness of the opening of today's light message. It's a good time to get out there and, get a new hobby going. It's summertime. You may have had a lot of indoor activity. Maybe it's time to incorporate some hiking. We're entering into some beautiful springtime weather here. In Vegas, it's the hang time between, the super hot summer and the super cold winter. So if you can get yourself into some new habits that get you out the door and into the sunlight, or just finding some new creative outlet, just in general. It doesn't have to be athletic. You can go outside and just journal for a little bit, draw, get yourself some crossword puzzle or something to do, and go out and find a tree and just have at it. It doesn't have to necessarily push you to your limits every time. But a new hobby or creative outlet is going to be extremely important these next few days. So, and on that note, it's also important to remember in doing this, we're retreating from the routine. We're putting that best side of ourselves forward, yes, but we are also nurturing the soul as well. So you can't have one without the other. Again, it's that Gemini moon energy. So you got to bring both versions of yourself along, and also take accountability for doing so in a safe, effective way. If you are close with people, or if you have, friends on the internet, it's also a good time to get some things off your chest, discuss belief systems, discuss ideals that you have. If you're feeling a certain way about how things in the world are going, if you're feeling a certain way about how things in your life are going, it's definitely the energy this week to break down the barriers. And on that note, even myself, I had some Reiki this week, so I can feel those blockages being undone, and it's creating a lot of a lot of open space and vulnerability that I'm not very used to. I'm very used to just showing up and saying, this is what you're going to see, and everything that's sensitive about me, you're not going to see. So again, it's so important to bring the fullness of yourself, and that's how you really remain in that authentic space where you can invite more of what's good on every level. So right now with my root chakra, which is so coincidental because I'm going through all of this home energy and where I come from energy is kind of been rocked to its core this past week. I can feel that part of myself healing because it's a part of myself that I haven't been to in a long time. That home energy and where I come from energy. And I think a lot of us in our pursuit of this, that, and the third, we can get into the monotony of the grind. We're always supposed to be about the hustle. We're always supposed to be about the next level. So you don't really pay much thought or contrast or even dialogue or soundboard with that child version of yourself that has grown from all that is, come to be in the current reality where you are now. So moving forward from that, just allow that space for yourself to have that dialogue, to look back and say, this is where I've come from. And you might even be inclined to change some of the mindset that you've become conditioned to. And especially with who you are today, you can imagine that if you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, down to the child version of yourself were approached with the same energies, you may have been apprehensive, you may have been closed-minded, you may have been, confrontational, a chip on your shoulder, or you may have just been afraid. So it's important to also be there for ourselves as we've changed our perception of the world around us, and congratulate ourselves on changing that perception of the world around us and those in our world around us. So congratulate yourself on letting all of these different energies in, for communicating, on this vibration of love and acceptance and open-mindedness. And if you're not there yet, that's not to call you out and say, you better open your mind. It's more a call to go within and do that self-retreating, because it's indicating that there's something in you. And again, you probably haven't been to that child version of yourself in a long time. And so it's probably just indicating that you have to go and visit that side of your life. So it's not easy. It's not easy. And as I go through it, I can feel the sludge from backed up, chakra energy, in my root that is just, it's wanting to release, but I'm not there yet. And that's okay. So yeah, allow yourself space to change your mind about things that are, that you've been fixed on, or that you thought you had been fixed on. It's different now. The world's different now. So revisit it and ask yourself authentically, do I still feel that way? And you may be surprised. Don't be afraid to get serious this week. Don't be afraid to bring up everything that is kind of on a more somber note. Something makes you angry, or something is hurting you, or something makes you excited, and other people are not really for that. Then as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, it should be a good thing. So it's important to stand your ground about how you feel, about what you are invested in, about what you are putting your action toward. So don't be afraid to say, hey, like, this is who I am, and this is where I'm coming from. Like, we all kind of have to do that every now and again, because I think as a community and as a society, we tend to take people at face value and just be like, well, this is so and so, and this is so and so, and this is what they do, and even I'm kind of guilty on the to and fro from that. Only for convenience. It's way more convenient to let people label me than it is to actually let them get a full breakdown of who I am as a whole person. So if you have just one or two notes following, oh, that's Dave, he's this and this, I'm not going to be mad at you for that. But for those of you who are in my closer circle, or if for those of you who've been following me for a while, you definitely know there's, between each chapter header, there's there's words and dialogue and all this, contrasting things. So again, don't be afraid to get serious. So glad I wrote things down. Otherwise, I would be a rambling mess right now. So avoid arguments and putting up fronts this week. I think we kind of can bring that back to standing our ground. Definitely do that in a healthy way. Don't do it with premeditated, I'm going to show them mindset, or great, I'm going to be able to tell them off mindset, or just show them. Like, you're not showing anybody. You're doing this work, this inner work for yourself. So you're standing your ground for yourself. You're doing the inner dialogue so that you can heal, and you're doing the new actions and the new hobbies so that you can be more liberated. So again, people can encourage you, but it's got to be important to you. Like, everything that you do in the name of, self-care, it's really got to be not to show other people that you are doing things for self-care, but why are you doing these things for self-care, and have that inner dialogue with yourself. This is important to me because XYZ. So it's important to not have that facade of, this is the gate, I hold the key, and you're not going to get an inch within my own personal space. If people want to get to know you, let them get to know you. But again, it's at your own pace, and it is at your own leisure. And definitely, if it violates the space within yourself, it's time to pump the brakes and say, bless you and be on your way. And all saying that, though, reminding you to everybody, you're more mature than you think. So you're very much capable of having these more serious thematics to your everyday dialogue. You are capable of, processing deep, hurt within yourself. You're capable of it. And if nobody's told you that lately, then I'm telling you now, you have reached maturity and you can tackle these deeper wounds within yourself. And not only that, you can exercise your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit, your well-being to a point where you're living in contrast to those wounds. It's powerful stuff this week. Moving into the daily energies, we are going to be ebbing and flowing, and love and compromise is going to come very easily this week. So again, I think that's wonderful energy and wonderful soil to have those dialogues of, our belief sets, our mindsets, and to not just say them, to have them affirmed, but to have them understood and respected, and to also have them challenged in a healthy way. So again, that love and compromise is going to be prevalent through, how we are communicating with ourselves honestly and with the world around us honestly. New understanding is also, so this is actually something that's going to be difficult to, or would have been difficult, but that's ending today. So it's all been a point to kind of accept the moment today. And that is ringing extremely true for myself. Today's the day where I feel like I have to, get myself up and out. And again, my energy shows so clear. And again, like I said, I just had that Reiki session and it knocked a lot of stuff loose. So forgive me, but it's just all about that new understanding within all of us. And if you're connected to me through the Matrix, you're definitely feeling that as well. And if you're watching this, you are connected. So, it's just, we got to be able to level some things so that we can see further into ourselves. Healing old wounds. That energy is also going through the air. We kind of did touch down on that. But again, it's as real as time traveling. You have to find a space where that memory that keeps on repeat in your head of when you were such and such years old, and this and that happened to you, or you wish you could have acted in this, that, and that way. You need to consciously enter yourself into that memory and be there for yourself and hold yourself and and remind yourself that you're safe now, that you're successful now, that you're bringing in love now, that you're bringing in money now, and forgive yourself and usher in that new way for them, for yourself then. It's a little convoluted, but it's very real. So, and even in doing that, you feel this release. And all it takes is just imagining it in your mind. You rewrite that memory. It doesn't change the reality, but it does change how you interact with the memory. And you connect with that energy, as old as it is, because you've been doing it since you were younger, and you'll be doing it when you're older. It's also a week for achieving success. So, again, it's time to put into action all of those plans you've been, muddling around, and it's all on paper. Well, it's time to act. So, I'll probably be making a phone call tomorrow morning. You're feeling highly passionate as well. And this isn't just your drives and your passion. This is like body language and sexuality and sensuality and, the vibrations you put out and your attractiveness, your charisma. You got it going on right now. So, receive it. None of us are waking up ugly right now. It's like that beautiful in between summertime. So we're all feeling that heightened, romanticized in the air. The flowers are blossoming. So it's definitely go time as far as, summer sun fun, but again, celebrate yourself too. And you are beautiful. You are worthy. So let it in. It's time to let it in and communicate with the world through love, because love is the highest form of attraction. And if you already are in the mindset, not in a conceited way, not in a I'm so good that nobody else deserves me, but I'm willing to let in all of this good I'm feeling about myself is what I'm going to let in. And then you start attracting that kind of energy. So I don't want to get into the opposite of that, because that's not where we're at. And when we are there, or if you do need deeper dialogue about that, you can message me, and I would not be opposed to, explaining that a little deeper to those of you who need it, a little more dialogue. But again, just celebrate yourself, and your personal journey is your personal beauty. And it's beautiful, not because just the physical, but because of your tragedy, so it's very much smile now, cry later. And you have to find all of this ebb and flow together. Again, it's both sides of the same coin, that Gemini energy. So we're going to wrap up the energies of the week with life of the party. Venus in Aquarius. So, I mean, you know what you're talking about. Everyone's listening. It's like when you enter a room, everybody's not eyes are on you, but ears are toward you. Conversation, especially higher conversation. Have those higher dialoguing, because again, otherwise you're just routinely living through life, and I'm sorry, that's boring. If you're just going around, having these conversations about, well, this is how much I'm making and this is who I'm dating, and very surface, then your whole life is going to be very surface. And I think that's really just an impossibility, or more it's an inevitability, that you will eventually have these deeper dialogues. And it's important as well to honor your own space, but again, not in this energy that we're here now. Get out there and talk to people. Like, if you're into networking, get out there, network. We're into the moon transits now, so this is more for the past 48 hours into the next 48 hours. We'll be very easily feeling out of touch. Can you see it on my face? Yeah, I'm feeling very much out of touch right now. But at the same time, I'm feeling like this is something to help me because it's a hobby of mine. It's my creative outlet. I can feel the energies kind of trying to align, and although it's a cloudy spot for me personally, I still feel the authenticity of the dialogue that I'm having, and that's healing for myself. So again, it's not going to be so easy to have your thoughts together, concise, ready to go. You're going to have to take some time before you speak this week. All right. The other one is fleeting depression. So again, depression is healthy in doses. If you are suffering from deeper onsets of depression that last days, weeks, months at a time, don't be afraid to consult somebody or to seek help. There's so many services out there that are just for that you shouldn't be carrying that burden alone. And you should definitely, again, it's a time for that higher dialogue. So it's also including your own mental well-being, your own emotional well-being, and are the two in flow with each other. And these are just real, authentic things that you've reached the maturity to genuinely ask yourself. So ask yourself those questions. Something that is also going to be working is understanding the inferiority complex within ourselves and understanding that same juxtaposed to those we're speaking about. There's going to be this breaking point for all of us who are either tyrannical or have been under the tyranny where we say enough is enough, and I've been either under this pressure for too long or I've been putting the pressure for too long, and something's got to give. So again, seize the day, seize the opportunity to make things right before it's too late. All right. Some important events starting this Sunday. We're going into owning our intellectual property. In other words, owning who you are, putting your trademark on it and owning up to all that's great about you and all that's not so great about you. Again, we're humans. We're very much both, divine, and we can be chaotic. So it's okay, as long as you're not burning down churches or hospitals, and even though that is going on right now and it's awful, there's space to also put the good foot forward for the community within your own relative space. And I think whenever I am doing these, I'm not ignorant to the fact that there is much more going on, but I believe truly if you put out good from your own corner of the collective consciousness, that is just a way to deep seed more good in the greater macro scale of things. Again, the universe is perfection, and things are being destroyed and created constantly. There's ebb and flow to everything. So, on that note, planetarily, we are still in Mars in Aquarius and Venus in Aquarius. This is it, though. This divine masculine and this feminine mystique. I've been saying it, and I've been saying it, and I've been saying it. It is feminine mystique is not girl bossing, and divine masculinity is not toxic masculinity. You should be holding sovereignty over those in your life, not controlling and dictating to those in your life. And you should be offering a space for collective healing, as well as breaking down the illusions of that tyranny and, falsehood around you and the shadow around you. So both of these, when you really get in touch with the true divine masculine and the true feminine mystique, you're a powerhouse. You're unstoppable on so many levels. People can't hide stuff from you. Not so much like tangible things or even but just your intuition's so high end. And on the divine masculine scale, you're creating this grand world for others to inhabit, but they're happy to be there. They're not feeling like they need to run away when you step into a room. And when you step into a room, you should be greeted with smiles, hugs, and camaraderie in that world you're created, not silence. You see what I'm saying? So, again, these male and female themes, they have little to do with gender binary as they have to do with that creative and chaotic within ourselves. That's divine masculine and feminine mystique. They actually don't. They they have little to nothing to do with assigned gender. Anyways, okay, moving forward, the sun is still in Aries, so we are still seeing the fields burn, but the field burning is not necessarily a bad thing. In order for new growth to happen, there has to be this leveling of the old, and there has to be this purging. And I think there's so much to be said about purging what's no longer serving us. And again, don't label it negative. You don't purge what is negative. Negativity shows up in your life as a mirror, and we've had that conversation too. So if negativity is in your life, what are you doing that's allowing and reflecting it? Purging old energy is just, I've outgrown this space. And it could even be a space of love and encouragement. But if you've outgrown it, then it's time to purge it. You can't just, I don't want to say you can't just, because you can do whatever you want. Whether it's good for you or good, best for your highest good or not. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. But it's more enhancing to this relative existence that you're experiencing to let go when something's done in your life and not grab onto it like nothing good is ever going to come back into your life. And this sounds like a love song or something, but it's not just romance. It's also financial situations, careers, it's houses, it's all kinds of stuff. It's relatives. It's it's video games. Movies. And so, let go. The attachment issue is so grand these days. And if people really want to truly experience that higher vibration, you have to let go of the floor. I love it. Mercury in Aries is, again, it's that burning conversation, and it's destructive fire. So again, let it burn. If something has you upset, you need to bring it up, and you need to dialogue about it. You don't need to be argumentative about it, and you don't need to burn the bridges, so to speak. It's more, you see weeds, so those need to be burned, and it's before everything is ruined. So catch it before it's too late. Control the fire. Okay? Have a controlled burning in your life. But don't just set it all ablaze and be like, starting new. I've done that too many times. Just pour gasoline on it all. We'll start again next year. On that note, it's a little chaotic today, guys. But on that note, let's get into this card today, and it's the Lost Lands. And this one, I didn't even pull at random. It just sort of jumped out at me. Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. So, I mean, we are here, and what I see on this card is I see lost civilizations. I see a gateway to tomorrow and this new way of living. An ever-flowing fountain. I've dreamed this place. It's beautiful. I'm going to hold that up. And it's just a reminder that there's nothing new under the sun. Your life is a cylindrical, cyclical, ever-flowing state, and you'll come to the same scenarios and meet the same people with different faces in different locations. And the universe uses this to dialogue with your desires to say, will you suffer or will you be fulfilled? And you literally say yes or no, and the yes or no isn't more of a verbal agreement. It's by letting somebody into your life who was like that old person in your life, because they make you valid. Again, like it goes back to me talking about inviting negativity as a mirror. How closely that mirror is held to the true image of yourself is changing all the time, but the image inside the mirror is always you. So as this next cycle begins, what are you willing to purge in that controlled fire? Letting it go. And it could be a big blessing that's come into your life. But again, by letting that go, you are going to allow for even more and something even grander. But it's going to take even more effort and an even grander sacrifice. Because I'm sure wherever you're at now took leaps and bounds from where you were before. But it's ever flowing and it's always continuing this cycle. So as we see the old ruins, we look through the mirror to the new way of living will eventually become the old ruins, leading into another parallel way of living. Very much never-ending story type stuff. God, I love 80s fantasy. And so now I'm going to go quiet. And I'm going to let this card speak for itself. And whatever comes to your mind, just receive it as you look. You guys, on that note, I just want to say thank you for joining me today, and it's been one heck of a roller coaster this 2022. There's such a deep contrast to how many blessings are unfolding to how many, tragedies are unfolding. But again, that's what makes life beautiful, and honoring life as it's happened and honoring those that have been in our life as they were is so important to accepting and releasing each other at the end of this beautiful miracle on this deep space cold rock. It's a little grim, but this rock hurtling through space that we live on, the conscious existence here on this planet is a miracle, and it's beautiful, and it's due to millennia upon millennia of deep tragedy and deep blessing coinciding in the same realm. It's a magnificent thing to be alive. So on that note, I hope you guys live it up this week. Take everything I said with a grain of salt and apply it as it comes to you through divinely speaking. And don't forget to go subscribe to the 5XL. All right? I'll catch you guys next week.